start discussions with me, Ellie from ARC, and we're in TMT in Stockport, the home of Dark HQ too. And I'm with Georgia Ingleton from Sheila Bird, a Manchester-based interior design studio. Thank you for coming today. How are you?
Really good, thank you. Thank you for having me. Love to be back in the space, so all good.
Yeah, so Sheila Bird, Manchester-based design studio. Could you start off by telling us a little bit about Sheila Bird?
Yeah, Sheila Bird's an interior and branding studio, and we're just on a mission to change how people experience spaces. So yeah, we're really passionate about people-centered design, designing for good, and bringing people together.
Cool. And you're located in Northern Quarter, right?
Yes, Northern Quarter in Manchester.
So tell me a bit about yourself, like where you studied and how you got to Sheila Bird.
Yeah, so I studied in Sheffield Hallam University. Yeah. Did you study there as well?
I'm from Sheffield.
Oh, me too. Oh, no way.
I did think the accent. I was like, I felt right at home with you, and now I'm like, whereabouts?
So I grew up in Handsworth.
Over here.
Yeah, but my parents live Catcliffe now.
Okay.
So change up a little bit. What about you?
I'm Essex, like just past Hillsborough.
Oh, right, yeah. So literally the other side.
North
Yeah.
Sheffield.
Yeah, oh, I love that.
So you studied at Sheffield Hallam?
Yes, so I graduated 12 years ago now, so it's gone super quick. And then I moved to Manchester for my first internship job. Started at a small studio called Faust, which was also based in Northern Quarter. Loved my time there. I was there for about 7 years. Just loved it. Was thrown into some really good projects, a lot of retail and a lot of hospitality. So that's where I kind of started out. And then 7 years later, I moved to Sheila Bird as their senior designer. And yeah, just thrown into some incredible projects. Started at New Century, which was reviving New Century down at Noma, which was a great project to start with. And then last year, they brought me on as director. So I was really, really happy about that, really excited. So yeah, I just love being there. Incredible team. I'm just really proud of the talent that we have there. So yeah, great studio.
Incredible. It's so good to hear more like northern-based interior design studios. So how was Sheila Bird first introduced to TMT? How did you get involved in the project?
So yeah, the TMT team approached us and asked if we would help them basically create a vision for a new space to grow in. They're an amazing team and just extremely knowledgeable about what they do. And we really wanted to showcase that in their new queue. They wanted somewhere that they could grow in. And yeah, they came to us to basically inject that vision and bring it to life.
So tell me about those early conversations you had around that brief that's fun and functional.
So they really want to be challenged. We were brought on to challenge them really on where we could go with this. So yeah, they wanted something that could really, really showcase the craft and that kind of craft and beauty of construction. So that's where this philosophy was born, the art of construction. We wanted to really show off what they can do as a company. Their attention to detail is unmatched, and we just really want to show that off in the spaces that we were creating for them.
You took some of the initial cues from the brand values. So what immediately stood out to you about TMT that shaped those early design thinkings?
So you sit down with the TMT team, and after 10 minutes, you realise how down to earth they are, how just really keyed up they are on construction and everything they do. Like I said, their attention to detail is unmatched. I've never seen anything like it. First and foremost, they're so knowledgeable about things, and we just really wanted to take that and show what we could do in the space and just show the art of construction, really.
What initial cues or brand values from TMT first stood out to you that shaped those like early design things?
So you spend literally 10 minutes with TMT, and it's so clear how down to earth they are, how fun they are to be around. The energy they bring is just amazing. But first and foremost, they're just super knowledgeable about what they do. They're very invested in the craft. And it was just really important that we brought that to life, really. And yeah, just got those conversations in to discuss how we would showcase what they can do. It's a special project, this, because TMT are the contractors, but also the client, which is quite different to a usual setup. So the fact that we aligned our design thinking really early on meant that the end product was so successful because everyone had the vision really clearly of what we were trying to create.
Amazing. So, how did lighting begin to play a role in expressing those values that you've just talked about?
So we're quite blessed here with 360 windows across the whole building. So we had this mix of like natural light, but also artificial light that we could play with. Materiality is huge in this project, which I'll get more into. But it was used as a really powerful tool to highlight those areas. So yeah, it was definitely integrated from the start, not just an added layer.
So, as a studio at Sheila Bird, do you have your own set of design principles that you sort of like, that's your go-to like rules of lighting, if that makes sense?
So no two project is the same.
Okay.
Like literally no project is the same. We spend a lot of time getting to know our clients. We sit with them for ages, like really getting into who they are, what they stand for, what their business personalities are, which means that none of our projects look the same. So the lighting design and the lighting direction often changes depending on that. Also the building. So no two buildings are the same. We work on brand new builds to grade 2 listed buildings and different listed buildings that have so many original features. So the shell lighting is completely different per project. So ultimately, we want to design for human interaction and people, and we'll always be experience-led in that. So that's always a driver. But yeah, they totally change depending on the project.
Thanks for throwing this in. So when you start to think about lighting in a project, is it ever like from the very beginning, more like towards the end finishing touches, or how does that usually go for you? Or how did it go at least for this one?
Totally ingrained from the start. Always ingrained from the start. We use it as a really powerful mechanism, really, to denote spaces, denote areas, transition from day to night. So as if you're designing for an experience, it's got to be included from the start. It cannot be a layer on the end or it just doesn't work.
So it helps create that journey, I guess. The building is structured as a journey. How did you shape that spatially, and how did light help with those transitions?
So yeah, it's definitely a journey. There's 3 floors of this building and there's a lot to be seen. But yeah, we crafted it in a way that it's very tactile as you walk through. So as soon as you walk through the door, you're greeted with a full tribe of Lego men, which was super fun to curate. But we integrated some like tiny little concealed LEDs just to light up each figure, which is such a small detail, but it made such a big difference to the lighting on the scheme. So that was just a beautiful little curation that we did. And then as you navigate through the space, I think the next thing you hit with is a really industrial bulkhead feature wall light kind of installation. And we strategically added a colour pop to that. So it instantly draws your eye. And it's that talking point again of the construction language with the conduit and everything. So it's kind of designed in a way to really lead you through the space. As you go to the higher floors, the lighting softens and it's much more task-led. And there's full controllability so that everyone that works here can control how they're working and what the light levels are for their task in hand. So yeah, very powerful tool to draw you through the journey.
So as you said, the ground floor is very raw, tactile. Did you have to choose lighting that really preserves that grit and authenticity?
Yeah, we definitely leaned into the features that we had around the space, allowed lighting to pick that up, create mood, atmosphere, and really show off the shadow and light around the space as well. So yeah, it was definitely used for that.
Okay. And the palette that softens upstairs, you were saying it's controls. You used it in controls to make it more comfortable. Was something the people who work here would say it highlighted as something that they needed by chance?
I think it's just comfortability, like I said. I think when you walk in a space and the lighting's not right, it's just a little bit off. There's something about it you notice straight away, don't you? Like you literally notice when it's not right. And we just really wanted to avoid that. And I think having that technology and the controllability for every space eliminates that. And it just makes spaces much more comfortable. and makes you actually want to be in there, not want to leave, which is just the worst, like the worst nightmare when the lighting's like that.
And just again, throw something in there, but so when you came to this project, did you do like a walk around here? And was that something you noticed was one of the things that were off? You were like, not very comfy in here.
I think it's,
to
be fair, when we first came, like I said, because we've got these 360 windows, you are blessed with quite a lot of light and you've got sunrise, sunset. So it was almost about preserving that and not altering that too much by adding unnecessary lights in that don't need to be there. And I think that's a common mistake that's made. And then you end up with this clash that's not good.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Could you go into more detail then about how you did balance that natural and artificial light?
Yeah, so it is tricky. It's a problem on a lot of jobs. And like I just said, it was highlighted straight away that we wanted to preserve that. But the way we did it is we designed areas to lean into not having any natural light, which was quite important. So we designed these kind of bespoke circular call pods to have a Zoom meeting in, and we leaned materiality and the colour palette in that leans into the fact that there's no natural light. And then the more open spaces, like the open workspace, we just strayed away from traditional lighting rules, really.
Okay.
And we just went for the feeling and mood, and we binned off any unnecessary like task lights that were going to be too stark and distracting, and leaned more into your kind of wall lights, your feature lighting, table lamps, just giving the people that work here options and places that they can choose to work in the lighting that they like.
I love that. That's very unique. And we've just done our work space magazine, and it's very much like cast lighting, little bits here, little bits there. So that's really fresh approach.
Variation is good.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So what as you go back a little bit to where you were talking about materiality, let's go a little bit further into that role and how it shaped the HQ.
So materiality was so important. It was super, super important. We wanted to showcase as many construction materials and raw materials as possible. Circularity was discussed very early on with the client. It was a big thing, and we wanted to showcase as many kind of sustainable and circular materials as possible. So you've got things like recycled plastics, we've got paper stone, recycled surfaces, we've got reclaimed bricks, we've got an I-beam leg, which was reclaimed on one of the tables downstairs. Trying to think, there's so many. Yeah. We've got, we went for sustainable flooring options with take-back schemes. We just really wanted to highlight that, and I think we've been really, really successful in doing that. But yeah, texture was very important. Those tactile elements were super, super important. Yeah, really happy to integrate those.
So decorative lighting pieces that you did use. So what was the thought process behind them? And was it the function or the aesthetic that came first, the location, products?
So anything that we specified for this project had to come back to the art of construction. So it was actually really fun to find lighting pieces that had this language. So you'll find through the space, we've got like brick I-beam pendants, we've got ceramic pendants, really tactile things that help tell the story. So every single pendant needed to align with that, or it didn't make sense. There's no point putting a random light fitted in. We wanted that story to be just so clear. So you'll find it on the table. So very entwined with the concept rather than picking nice fittings, if you know what I mean.
Do you have like a favourite that you would really like point out and was like, this one was really cool? And
we've popped in the Vibia strap lights, which are a really good feature. And I feel like the strap language really aligns with what you would find on site, and like those hanging wires and things like that you would find on a site strip out, or something that you would find really easily on any site. I also love the bordering lighting. It's a very bespoke plywood kind of lit ceiling moment. I mean, it's above us here, that's why I'm pointing upwards. But yeah, that was really fun to curate, and that perforated language mirrors, again, things you would find on site. So yeah, it was really fun to collect these things.
Cool. So when you were collecting these materials, was there anything you tried and then once it was lit, you was like, oh no, that's not going to work?
No, not at all. I think the concept was so strong that we were just we valued the materials that we picked because they helped tell the story, and that was just super important. So yeah, there was nothing was going to put us off using what we needed to be used. Just because we integrated lines so early, we weren't going to get those issues really. So yeah, it was a nice process to pull together.
So the HQ has a lot of like meaningful handcrafted elements. You've already briefly talked about a few. But yeah, tell me your favourites and how they came to be. What was the initial spark of we need to have this? This will be really cool.
Yeah. I mean, the Lego man wall is a huge one.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved it. It was such a wholesome thing to curate. I loved putting that together, and it was 3D. That each figure was 3D printed by a local 3D printer. So he put that together for us. And then you can see now that the TMT team have started to personalize them and put little kind of high-vis jackets on, depending on what clients they've got coming in, so they can interchange that. And that's just a really nice story. I also really love the tools wall. So we reclaimed items and collected items to display and dress the space rather than just getting nice objects again. Ellen in our studio became the expert collector of tools. She really got into finding the old ones and the unique ones, and it made for a beautiful story in the boardroom. And it gets such a reaction when people come in or when TMT have big board meetings in here. It's just a talking point. We always try to do that on projects. We want a bit of a wild card or something like that's a talking point, and it needs to be unique to the project, so it'll always be different wherever you are. But I think those elements became that. And
what was the initial spark for Lego and then?
They represent the team of TMT. There's so many different people in the business. You've got the people in the office, you've got the people on site. It's a really ecosystem of different people, and we wanted to honour that and shine a light on that, and that's where the inspiration came from.
I noticed in some spaces they will have like a wall and it will have like the employees there with like their names underneath, so it's kind of like a fresh, fun, like 3D version of that.
The number is accurate to who was here when the project was built, so they're growing. I'm sure there's not enough shelf space. That's a really nice thing to do.
Okay, so when it comes to like creating a feature, how do you decide what is a big feature and what's something that sounds quietly in like the background?
I think the users define the features. I think the visitors and the users define it. And I think that's just a really nice thing. I think every time you come here, you notice something different. You notice a different element or a different feature. And I think that just means the space will never date. It'll always be current. It'll never go off trend. It will always be current to TMT. So yeah, I think the users can pick out their favourite features, really.
And maybe one day this is our favourite room, and then the next day,
exactly.
Favourite space.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure. So, I was going to ask, what was the biggest challenges you faced during a project?
Yeah, I think from a lighting perspective, it was avoiding that clash of natural light and artificial light. Everything just needed to align, and we just really wanted to design this for the users and the TMT team to feel comfortable in, and really push the boundaries on what they're used to and what was known to them. So it was a challenge pushing those elements, but they said yes to absolutely everything. It was good in the end, but yeah, I would say that.
So sustainable construction is central to the TMT ethos. So how did you ensure that the lighting strategy aligned with sustainable ethos?
So we actually introduced a new concept to TMT, which was their lab area. So this is a workshop and almost creation lab where they can test and pioneer new ways of building, new sustainable ways of thinking of construction and just creating new ways to do things. So this has been amazing and very pioneering for lighting as well. So it actually meant that we could test drive some of the fittings and how it would light things and actually build it on site in a non-wasteful way. And now TMT can have their clients come in. They can test these materials, test ways of working, and it eliminates waste. It eliminates committing to something that may not work. They're actually really working into this for their clients. And it just meant that we could actually use this as well through the process to trial it. So yeah, sustainability was huge in that way. And ultimately it'll eliminate waste and things going into landfill. And it's just such a circular way to build and design and trial and just think of new ways of doing things. So yeah, that was huge.
Did you guys get involved in this project because you'd worked with TMT on any projects previously?
No, we never worked together. Yeah, we're just known for causing a bit of trouble, I think. Shaking things up a little bit.
That's not a bad thing.
No, it's definitely not a bad thing. I'm not complaining. So yeah, we were brought on for that really, just to think of new ideas and yeah, push them a little bit, which is what they wanted. So yeah.
Cool. So you've mentioned a lot how this space is to like adapt over time and to grow with it. So I'm assuming you're expecting like a long lifespan on space. Yeah, can you tell me a little bit more how you've designed it so that it evolves with the people in it?
So yeah, this has been set up for growth completely. Every piece of joinery has been made in a modular way, so it can be taken apart, moved, changed. Everything's designed to be moved. I mean, we did a really feature circular seating area on the second floor. This has got caster wheels on, it's in segments, it can move and change. And then in the future, if they need to adapt that into another desk area or anything like that, they can. If they need to pick it up and move it somewhere else, they can. And the whole space has been designed in that vein, really. The shell features are very hard wearing and sustainably thought about, but the core of it can be flexible, which is a really good way to think of it.
You were talking earlier about lighting to make people feel more comfortable in space. Was there any like neurodiverse considerations? Because I know that's like a real topic in design right now.
So you can really see how calming the space is generally. It's quite clear to navigate. We just opted to get rid of that glare and that kind of bright light glare. We just really didn't want that. And like I said, we leaned away from traditional methods just to make sure it was this calming space. Acoustics were thought about really early on as well, which was key. But ultimately, we just wanted people to have choice. And I think we want the people working here to self-select the areas they work in. So they can come away from a more bustling area and go into like a more quiet call booth with table lamps without that overhead light, with more concealed LEDs if they want to escape kind of like a more buzzy area. Or you could go into the breakout space and use that as a bit of a working area. And I think choice is important. And you get the most productivity out of that as well. So yeah, we've tried to think that there's not one correct way to work. There's multiple. Everyone should have choice, I think. Yeah. So yeah.
Amazing. So how have the staff responded after the design? Have you heard any of their thoughts?
Yeah, really good. So good. I love coming back and seeing everyone use the space and just to see that they've taken ownership over it, because we can design something and think it looks incredible, but until the people that own it really take ownership of that, like that's the key. That's what you want to see. So yeah, really good.
I noticed when we were coming in here, you saying hi to everyone and stuff. So it's been like a really nice, close project and getting to know the people occupying it, not just you.
Absolutely.
That's a big loss.
Yeah, definitely. The team are incredible. Yeah, I've been in awe of watching them work on something so passionately as their own space. So yeah, really good team.
So looking back, what's your most favourite part or most memorable part of the experience?
Oh, I think the lab was huge. I think that was just such a unique thing to have thought up, a unique thing to think about in the studio. So I think that was definitely up there with one of my favourite parts. Just so unique, and I've not seen it done anywhere else. And I just think that was incredible for the business here at TMT as well. So that was definitely an important part. And I have to say, also maybe the lift. I am biased, but it's the best lift, like internal lift I've ever seen. I just love the juxtaposition of the kind of hard, kind of brick slip facade, and then within the lift, it's a soft shag pile carpet. And it's just like a really good mix of materials. So yeah, I loved that. Designing that part was incredible. But yeah, just the TMT team's attention to detail brought it all to life. So yeah, that was...
It sounded like a travelling style.
You can just imagine having a really stressful day and going in there and being like, everything's fine.
Therapy. Yeah. I love that. So what lessons do you think you've taken from the interplay of lighting, materiality and the storytelling of this project?
I think just integrating it into the concept and integrating it into those early conversations. Like, lighting should never just be a layer plunked on top to do the job. It's such a powerful tool, and it helps you transition through spaces. It helps define spaces. It helps highlight those materials that we want to highlight. I think, yeah, we've exposed ceilings, but it's nice to let the shadows and the rhythm speak. And I think if it's not integrated early enough, you don't get those special moments. So yeah, I think a lesson is just make sure it's part of the conversation from day one and design from there.
So, I think we were talking about your Manchester-based interior design studio, and we're based here in Stockport. And it's really nice to like champion some northern design studios and spaces as well. And yeah, so we go to London quite a lot. But what would you say about the interior, like the design community up north? Like, have you got any comments on that, or what's really special about it up here?
I think you hit the nail on the head. It's special. It's very special. And I think Manchester especially, we've just got such a great hub of talent here. London's incredible, but my heart will always be up north. I think, yeah, we've just got a true graft and a true...
like you were saying, this project really shines through that, with it being like a construction design space.
I think it's just that down-to-earth nature. And I think things can be done in a really interesting way when you actually get into the minds of the users that are using it. And such special things can come from that. And you just don't want that to get lost. And I just think we're really good up north of really getting into the people and understanding people really well. We've got some great projects down in London, but I absolutely love, we've just moved studios in Northern Quarter, and it's just a lovely space. And you just do feel like you're in the heart of it. And yeah, the design in Manchester is just amazing.
Does it inspire you as well, Manchester's?
I think, yeah, just... my heart will always be here, for sure.
Amazing. Well, thanks for speaking to me. That was really, really fun. Now we should go maybe have a little look around.
Yes.
Let's go.